Yeah, so we were discussing this question. We'll take this example. Uh, let's say last three number is a valid number.
Kaushik, we can take a bigger example. I'll give you numbers. Just write them. Let's work that out.
Sure.
Yeah. 5555. 555.
555.
Then 2344.
2344.
456.
456.
Yeah.
Yes. So if we take only 5, can anyone tell me it's a valid or not? Not valid, right? Alone, it cannot be valid. If we take 2, 5, it's a valid one, so we can mark it true. Like what I'm saying is, including last number, it is a valid sequence or not. So let's take another 5. Is it valid so far? Yes. If we take another 5, yeah. Okay. Now, if we take 2, is this complete sequence ending with 2 is a valid array? No. And how do you decide that it's not a valid one? Okay. Right. So these two, if let's say, if we add this 2 to this subarray, which is 5555, this 2 needs to be part of uh, a subarray, right? That is of size 2 either or 3, right? So if we take of size 2, this is not a valid subarray. Also, if we take a size of 3, still it's not a valid subarray. So if this is only not valid, we don't have to see anything else, right? Does everyone agree with this? Okay, fine. So here we can say like number ending with 2 is not a valid sequence. Now let's add 3. Now is it a valid sequence? We see this last two things, size of 2 and size of 3. If we take size of 3, this is not valid. If it is size of 2, that is also not valid, right? So it's not a valid one. Okay. Now if I add 4, is this last? Okay, I'll remove the lines. Yeah. Is this valid? Like if we take 3, 4, is this alone valid? No. If we take 2, 3, 4, is it valid? Yes. So if this is valid, we know if this is valid, we also know this is valid. Can we say this complete subarray is valid? Right? Because alone this 4 numbers, which are 5, 5, 5, 5, these are valid. Alone this subarray is also valid. So if we add, we can divide it into 2, 2, 3, right? So this is a valid one. Now if we add 4, is it a valid? If we add single 4 at the end, what we have to check first is two numbers combined together. If we take this two number combined together, it is forming a valid subarray, that's fine. But if we look at the remaining part, that is not possible to form. So this is false. Other possible way is we take the last three number, but that number itself is not these three numbers itself is not, following the condition. So that will also not be a valid case.
Yeah. So ultimately, in nutshell, we are saying if last two numbers combined together are valid, we will copy the answer for of third value from the end, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that is one way. Other way is like we say that if this check doesn't work, we'll go and check last three number is valid. Then we'll copy the answer of n minus 3. So either condition, like
Yep.
if last two are valid, then we see whether n minus 2 is valid or not. If these both conditions are valid, we'll say fine. Else we'll go and check last three is valid or not. With that, n minus 3 is valid. So if these two things, either of them are true, we can say that ending at n is valid sequence. So if we work out this example, here we'll get false. And then if we add one more 4, this last three number is valid. Here we don't have a valid, but last two number, if we only take, that's a valid, and n minus 2 is also valid, this complete sequence. So this is true. I'm writing 5, 6 below. So if I add 5, last two numbers are 4, 5 or 4, 4, 5. These both are not valid. So we can directly mark false for 5, ending at 5. And then we take 6. So if we take 6, so if we take only 5, 6, it's not a valid, but if we take 4, 5, 6, it's a valid sequence. So we just go and see what is the answer at this position. So over here, if we see it's false, so the answer would be false. Anyone has any doubt here? Want to discuss anything?
And now how many people feel confident that you can go ahead and code it? This is just a tabulation method. Can we have responses in the chat, please? Yeah, how many of you can go and code it directly? Okay, if anybody has any doubts, okay. Still thinking, okay, few people are saying they can. Is there any doubt, anything that is not clear? Yeah, we are not discussing the code because we want you to work out. Okay, the idea is clear.
Yeah, so if we write it in one line, what we can write is like number 8 ending at index. Let's say if we have an array, so or a resultant array, let's say. So resultant number ending at index. This is a Boolean array, we can say, like bool resultant. So what we can say is if last two is valid and resultant of index minus 2, if these two is valid together, then basically rest of index is also a valid. What is the other condition? Can anyone help me write this other part? Yeah, last three is valid. And with that, resultant of index minus 3 should be valid. So either of these two conditions, if one of it satisfied, we can say array ending at index is a valid one. Okay, so if there is no doubt on this, we can move to another question.